are now listening to Regular Guys Podcast.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Regular Guys. I'm your host, PJ. I'm excited to be back. I took 2 weeks off to pursue my dream. I went to try out for the LA Chargers, and I got it, guys. I got the spot. You were looking at the 2021 equipment manager right here, baby. That's right. I'm handling all the uniforms this season. Man, I'm happy to be back, though. Glad to see my guys. Matty Ice, how you been, brother?
Pretty good, man. We're actually happy for you, man. We're glad that you're back.
Yeah, you missed me.
I did actually.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you're going to be a equipment manager for a team that we don't really care about, so that doesn't benefit us anyway, except for tickets.
That's actually not what happened. I actually tried out to play on the squad.
Oh,
no. But they told me 5'4" just doesn't quite cut it, like height-wise, you know. Justin Herbert threw me one pass and it didn't. I don't know where I'm going with this. Jake, take over, brother. What's new? What's new with you? Save us here.
Nothing, man. Just happy you're back. But the more you talk this opening, part, I'm kind of wishing we go back to the way things were the last couple of weeks. I don't know if you were having a stroke or what, but glad you're back, I guess.
I gotta be honest. I'm nervous talking here. It's like I haven't done it in a while, so I don't know what.
Yeah, man.
What to talk about?
It'll do that to you. I mean, I'm glad you're back. I don't have to host. I can just kind of, sit back, be a regular guy. So it's on you, man.
I love it. Regular guy merch coming soon too. Trying to rock a regular guy hat. So when people ask who you are, I'm just a regular guy. Hey, we're talking greats this week. Greats. We did talk GOATs before, but that was individual accomplishments, and individuals don't really necessarily add up to the team accomplishments all the time. So we're going to talk about the greatest teams to ever do it. The greatest teams. We're going to break it down in the NFL. We're going to break it down in the NBA. There's going to be a lot of opinion here. I know there's going to be a lot of biases. Jake's probably going to talk about the Knicks way too much, but it's fine. We'll shoot him down. He had a super weak argument in the GOAT episode. We killed him. So, hey, stick around if you want to see Jake make a fool of himself. We got some other things on tap too, man. The hype is coming up. We're talking about Aaron, a.k.a. Karen Rodgers. I'm really excited to talk about that.
I like what you did there.
Yeah, but it was completely unnecessary. But we'll get into that.
Karen Rodgers.
I like that.
Yeah, that's the
kind
new
of
thing.
Nice ring to it,
right? Karen Rodgers.
Yeah, I really
I'm definitely gonna get spicy in that segment. But hey, before we get too off topic, let's jump right into it, huh? The greatest teams of all time. So for me, the greatest teams don't necessarily win championships, and maybe you guys disagree with me here, but for me, the greatest teams would be the ones that were just monsters that could plow their way through anyone without any real hesitation. So that's my definition of the greatest teams. Let's hear it, Matt. What's your definition of the greatest teams?
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with you on the championship part. And to me, to be a great team, you have to win the ring. Only reason why I can't put that 07 Pats team as the best is because they couldn't get it done to Jake's game manager quarterback.
To who? Hey, say what you want. 2 Super Bowl MVPs, my guy. Put some respect. That's
I just did, bro. I just said
no. It's fine. Make your case. I'll leave you alone.
But my team that I feel is the greatest of all time. Now I'm gonna go back a couple of decades. I'm gonna go 1989 Niners. They were 14-2 Super Bowl champions, led by the great.
Did you say
man
1989?
1989. I wasn't even born yet, man.
Wow. But they're great in your eyes.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you look at who they had, Steve Young, who many might feel is the true greatest quarterback of all time. Jerry Rice.
Many like who?
Old heads.
I mean, like
People who don't like Brady.
who says Steve Young is the greatest quarterback of all time?
A lot of people, man.
They put him in the top 10. No one says he's the greatest.
I mean, how many rings does this guy have? Like 4 or 5? He's got quite a bit. Rings, that's what they're measuring it by. And if you don't like Brady, that's what a lot of people will go to, Steve Young as being up there. But yeah, for me, it's going to be them. Steve Young has got to be, leading that team. Jerry Rice, greatest receiver of all time. And that I'm super confident in saying. If you don't have Jerry Rice as your greatest of all time at receiver, there's something wrong with you. Ronnie Lott. I mean, this team back then in the 80s, and this is saying a lot, was averaging 27.6 points, where offense, you could probably say, wasn't at an all-time premium. You had some good teams that were, pretty, high scoring, but they were 27.6, and the defense was legit, only 15.8. That's big. That's big time. So yeah, man, that for me, it's I'm gonna go with them. 1989. Now, me personally, I never actually seen them play, obviously. But just the stacked Hall of Famers they had, and then, like I said, just seeing the championships they were able to get, I got to go with the 1989 Niners for my greatest team of all time.
So here's how I know that you don't know what you're talking about and that you're unprepared. Yes, Steve Young was on the team, but Steve Young was a backup at the time. It was Joe Montana's team in 1989. Joe Montana started.
Joe Montana, correction.
Joe Montana started.
Joe Montana, yep, regular guys right here. You hear it first.
In the Super Bowl.
That's what we do, man.
So you've already taken an L there, first of all. Number two, you said Steve Young has 4 to 5 Super Bowl rings. He has 3.
Hey, I'm one off.
So
I'm one off.
That's. I mean, you said a lot of things.
You're gonna go based
off
a lot
of things, and half of them were inaccurate.
Them actually being good, though.
How could they really be the greatest team of all time if you don't even know who was on the team? That's all I gotta say. Jake, do you agree with this? You agree with this 1889 team or whatever year he said?
So first of all, PJ came in here, guns blazing.
I'm ready, man.
For me, the greatest team of all time will have to be that 2013 Seattle Seahawks team. I don't know if anyone remembers that Super Bowl. It wasn't that long ago, but 43-8. They killed the Broncos. And it was a defensive effort, obviously. You had the Legion of Boom or Legion of Doom. What was it again? Boom or Doom? Forgot.
Oh my goodness!
This is where you
did anyone prepare for this show?
Your argument.
This is where you come in, PJ.
Boom, Legion of Boom, man.
I had it right the first time.
Legion of Boom. They had Camp Chancellor back there laying the wood.
Yes, and they had 4 turnovers, and they had 2 of them that went for touchdown, and then we had that great Percy Harvin touchdown return for the kickoff, which we thought Percy Harvin was going to be something big in this league, but he had way too many concussions, injuries, but that's something else. But that team was absolutely phenomenal. Russell Wilson had a really good game too. He threw no picks, just straight touchdowns, 18 for 25. Wasn't too bad. Obviously, wasn't the Russell Wilson we know today, but he did really well. Team overall did great, but obviously it was a defensive team. So I went with that team.
So you leaned on a team that pretty much did not much offensively, but had a great defense.
Yeah, I went with the defensive team.
Can you agree then that it's the greatest team of all time? If their defense was great, but the offense was subpar?
Well, the offense was not that subpar. They just did their job. They controlled. Wilson didn't throw any he didn't have any turnovers. He had 2 touchdowns. He had a good quarterback rating, which is about 89. This isn't too bad. I just think he did what he was supposed to do that game. The defense was giving you possessions and just kill some clock and score, and that's what they did.
That's true. I think their offense was adequate. I don't know if I'd say if it's the greatest of all time. Here's what I mean. There were other teams that had great defenses. I would say even better defenses than the Legion of Boom, but also had an offense to match it. If you took the 2013 Seahawks and put them up against the 07 Pats, who's coming out the winner, Matt?
I'm going to go '07 Pats.
Yeah. Jake?
Defense, they had '07 Pats had a good defense. It wasn't like elite, but the offense, man, was just, oh my goodness. I mean, you had an old, maybe not so old, but an older Randy Moss still burning guys out there. So I'll take '07 Pats.
Yeah. He caught, what, 22 touchdowns that year?
Yeah, it was crazy.
As great as Sherman was, great as Elysium's Boom is, I still think I'm going to take Moss over
But my
any
question
corner.
is, why would you take Moss? Because you can put Sherman and Chancellor on Moss.
True, but then the
And
07 Pats also have
Who else?
Gronk at the time.
No.
I feel like you might have to put your safety on Gronk too.
Gronk wasn't even that big of a factor in '07.
All right, so talk to me about the roster then.
Right,
Who did the 07
So they
Pats have?
starting Tom Brady, Kevin Falk was your running back, Wes Walker
was like 75 at the time.
Yeah, Wes Walker was your other starter opposite of Moss. Kyle Brady and Ben Watson were your starting tight ends.
Yeah, Gronk wasn't.
Yeah, Gronk wasn't drafted yet.
Gotcha.
But this defense, though, Ty Warren, Vince Wilfork, Mike Vrabel, Teddy Bruschi, Asante Samuel, Rodney Harrison.
Yeah, that's stacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were all towards the end of their career. Teddy Bruschi had a stroke after they lost.
Oh, not Asante Samuel, though.
Teddy Bruschi was 34. I
game.
give you that. Asante Samuel was 26.
Mike Vrabel, didn't he retire like 2 seasons after?
Mike Vrabel was 32. Vince Wilfork was 26.
No, Wilfork was a beast. Even when he was almost done, he was killing it.
So although, yeah, some of these guys were old, they had a nice sprinkled in of youth. And again, this offense was just on fire.
I mean, say what you want. Strahan and OC just demolished that Tom Brady guy.
Okay, but we're talking about Pats.
No, I mean, that's cool, but say what you want to say, but that's fine.
This guy.
So Jake's a little bit salty.
How am I salty? We got a ring. Ain't nobody salty? Why would I be salty?
I feel like this is turning into his Kobe take again with the goal.
Oh, no.
I got some stuff to say about that, but we kept that going in it.
So I have a properly prepared argument here since Matt was talking about Steve Young, who didn't even start for the team.
You don't have one.
And Jake, I don't know what Jake's argument was. He talked about a team that had an okay defense.
I said they had a great defense. What do you mean?
Here we go, fellas. Here we go. You know what? I'm going to get ahead of this. This team did not win the Super Bowl that year. However,
but yeah, they're the greatest of all time.
I'm going to say they're the greatest of all time. Here's who they are. 98 Minnesota Vikings. They had Randall Cunningham, easily at a top 5, top 10 QB. Randy Moss, the true number 1 wide receiver of all time. Yeah, we can get into that about Jerry Rice. Randy Moss, the true number 1 wide receiver of all time. They had John Randall, Hall of Famer, leading that defense. The 98 Vikings scored an NFL record in points. They had the most points ever scored up until that time. And that held for another, to 2007. So another 9 years until it was broken. They never scored less than 24 points. They won at least 10 games by 10 points. So they were blowing people out. Week 16, 50-10 win. You won by a 40-burger? That's disrespectful. The Vikings were walking through people nonstop. They had 10 Pro Bowlers on their team. So pretty much everyone, offense and defense, was playing at a high level. Yes, they lost in the playoffs. Why did they lose in the playoffs? They didn't lose in the playoffs because of the other team. They lost in the playoffs because of sloppy play and sloppy coaching. Yes. All right. So does that not make them the greatest? Yeah. They made a mental lapse. They made a very quick mental error. Of course, Gary Anderson, he missed a field goal. Everyone knows it. The Vikings just have a bad way with field goals. Fine. If you put any team right now against the 98 Vikings, they'd win.
Apparently not the 98
So
Falcons.
the only thing that I heard is that, man, we had a really good team.
Yeah, we had
But
a really great
when
regular
it came to
season.
that playoff game where we had to win,
We found out our
eh,
kicker sucked.
yeah, we just had a
That's-
mental break. It's okay. It
I'm
happens
sorry,
to the best of us.
I
No.
can't give you that
What
one
the-
just because you didn't get a ring.
Say
Yeah.
what you want. Say what you
Just 'cause
want.
you didn't get a ring.
If you break a record for a 100-year-old league and hold that record into the modern era for quite some time, to me that says you're unbeatable.
So then why didn't you pick the 72 Dolphins?
But apparently you are beatable. 27-30.
That's true. That's true. I have nothing to say. It was a sloppy game. It was bad kicking. I have nothing to excuse that.
So you wouldn't have won the game if you were down 3 because your kicker sucked anyways. So either way, you still lose the game.
Now we would have tied it up, killed them in overtime.
Okay.
All right. Name me one person that you know from that Falcons team. They fell. That was a classic trap game. They fell asleep. The Falcons were nobody. They didn't play the game properly. Jake doesn't remember 1998 because he was still in
2.
Pampers. That's the reason he's talking like this.
I'm talking
No-
like this because they didn't. You just said it. They didn't.
Nobody remembers anyone from that Falcons team. That was a trap game by default, and they fell asleep. And just like Danny Green said, we let them off the hook. That's what happened.
And that you did.
So I don't know. I feel like that team would have demolished either of your teams there, Matt.
Nah, I don't know about that one. Ronnie Lott would have knocked Moss smooth off.
That's not happening.
And then your whole Moss over Rice. I can't give you that one either.
Tell me why.
Rings.
But rings has nothing to do with the receiver though.
Rings. Look at the longevity of the both of them compared. I mean, I'm going Rice all the way, bro.
Longevity. Didn't Moss play like 17 seasons
I'm
and
pretty sure
and Rice played like 22? They both had long careers. Moss just knew when to hang it up. Yeah, Rice had better numbers. He played 5 more seasons than him though.
so then there's the argument. Better numbers, more rings. I don't know what
Moss-
else you say.
Moss wanted to go home. He did what he did. He did what he had to do and he went home. That doesn't mean he's
I feel like you're choosing
less.
Moss just because of the fact he played for you.
I feel like I'm choosing Moss because I saw him climb the ladder against elite talent
Except
time
for
and
the
time
Falcons.
again.
Except for
I
the
saw-
1998 Falcons.
I saw him play against the premier lockdown corner of our generation, Darrelle Revis from the Jets. I saw him dismantle Revis time and time again. That to me told me everything I needed to know.
I'll give you that.
But anyways, we're not talking about GOATs. We're talking about the greatest teams. 98 Vikings. Let me know what you think in the comments. If a team that lost in the playoffs, can they be considered the greatest of all time? Let me know what you think. Fellas, let's get off topic a little bit. I'm ready to talk about your boy Karen Rodgers. Now, maybe Matt, you could just break down what's going on with Aaron Rodgers here. Break that whole situation down first. Just tell listeners objectively what's happening with Karen Rodgers.
So just to kind of make it short, if you listened to last week's show, I broke it down really in depth as to what happened. But long story short, it was draft day. News broke out. He was unhappy. He wants the GM fired. And if that can't happen, he wants to be traded. That's pretty much where we are at right now. He's sending things to like ESPN that he's not going to show up. Obviously, they're a lot funnier than how I'm putting it. But yeah, that's exactly where we're at right now. Karen Rodgers is being exactly that, Karen.
I don't think so. Okay, so I agree. The one thing that I will agree with what PJ and Matt have to say, he is going about it the wrong way. But his reasoning is not wrong. But the making it about himself, especially on draft day, and then every day having it to be about him, that he could handle a bit differently. But the reasons to him acting out and wanting to leave, I don't think those are wrong.
So, what are the reasons for him acting out, wanting to leave, Jake?
The last 10 seasons, they've drafted one offensive guy that's not the O-line, and that was Jordan Love, that they traded up to grab.
But they still have a top offense. He still won MVP.
You might want to clarify on that, because if you're saying in the first round, yes. But if you're saying overall, Devontae Adams was drafted in the last 10 years.
Okay, only guy.
No,
he's
they
still
drafted
the guy,
plenty
though.
of offensive line.
Yeah,
I'm talking about
guys.
weapon-wise. Within the first two rounds, it's just Devontae Adams. Aaron Jones was what, a third or fourth round pick?
He's still a weapon, though. It doesn't matter if you draft that guy in the fifth round.
He's a weapon as of lately, like as the last couple seasons. He didn't start off a weapon.
And I will say this. I agree somewhat to what Jake is saying. Somewhat. But the thing is, you can't draft somebody in the first 2 rounds and expect them to be good. If they're not, then they're a bust. Then whose fault is that? That's just a player being bad.
No,
getting Aaron Jones from UTEP. Where is UTEP?
Oh no, 100%. Like what also I'm trying to get at is they didn't draft him what he was, because you're looking for, as a quarterback, you're looking for a guy when you're going to draft in the first, let's say even second round, because you can get some good players in the second round, an NFL ready player. You're hoping that your scout team, your GM will do the right job and find you a guy like that. They only got him Devontae Adams. After that, it's been a guy that, okay, Aaron Jones was a great late pick. But then after that, they didn't do anything. And what really got Aaron Rodgers mad, MVP season, they kick a field goal in the NFC Championship game. Knowing that your defense is trash, all Tom Brady has to do is get 2 first downs and the game's over. You're not even Brady doesn't even need to get a field goal. He needs to go 20 yards and the game is theirs. So why don't you just let Aaron Rodgers score a touchdown? You don't trust
So here's
Rodgers?
the problem with that, though.
But why didn't he score a touchdown on like third, fourth down when he could scramble?
In his mind, he probably is like, okay, I have 4 opportunities, not 3.
Here's the problem with what you just said, though, Jake. Yes, field goal, super bad call. We all agree with that, right, Matt? Terrible call. But who made that call? The GM or the coach?
Coach.
The coach. Yeah.
So he's mad at who, though? He's mad at the GM. He's not mad at the coach.
GM, but yeah, the GM's not calling down there to kick it.
So
that's a coach decision.
So my point is, if he was mad about that play, mad enough to leave, he'd have been mad at the coach. He would have said,
I'm
fire
saying
the coach.
that
He already has gotten a coach fired before he got Mike McCarthy fired. So if he was mad about that play, he would have fired the coach. What he's mad about is the team building, like you said, right?
And
so
I think that call just tipped him over the edge.
Here's the thing.
It should have been like you said, he should have been mad at the coach.
Here's the thing for team building. This man has number 4 offensive line in the league, number 4 running back, number 2 fantasy tight end in the league, top receiver, right? What if Devontae gets hurt? Listen to me. Let me ask you a question. When the Cowboys were winning Super Bowls in the 90s, who was the main wide receiver? Michael Irvin, right? Who was wide receiver 2?
I don't know.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. When Brady was doing it, 2007, with Moss, who was wide receiver 2?
That's different. We all know who Wes Welker was.
Yeah. Wes Welker was already 39 years old at the time.
No, he wasn't. Not in 07.
The point I'm making is this.
Like you had one good example.
Oh, no, there's plenty of examples like that.
Okay, but even – all right, you want to say Michael Irvin?
No.
Emmett Smith is a Hall of Fame running back.
Okay, fine. So you have a quarterback.
Aaron Jones is not Emmett Smith.
No, but
he's not a scrub either.
Right, that's the point.
I get that.
Weapons usually consist of a quarterback, a great running back, and a great wide receiver. And sometimes a good or a great tight end, right? That's usually what a triplet is. QB, running back, receiver.
With a nice offensive line.
But you just had your rankings.
Green Bay has that. QB, running back, nice wide receiver.
But
They
your rankings
have
came
that.
from fantasy football. You don't
No.
rank a team off. You
No.
just said
I
fantasy
talked about
football
no,
wise.
only for Tanyan did I say fantasy.
Okay.
The
Well,
the
when we
number
listen to the
4
audio, we'll go back.
the number 4 O-line was a PFF rank. Devontae was number 5 in receiving yards. And you could argue that because of the touchdowns, he's the best receiver in the entire league. Tanyan was like low in yards, but he had 11 touchdowns. So that's why I said the fantasy numbers for that. But he was still a great tight end outside of fantasy, just in general. He had a great team. I know how you know he had a great team? Because he had one of the best seasons he ever had. He had an MVP caliber season. Yeah, he doesn't have 50 receivers. He doesn't go 3 deep like the Vikings have great receivers, like the Cowboys have great receivers. But he has enough. He has enough to win because he's doing it. And he has enough to be MVP caliber winning because he's doing it. He has enough to win and not struggle, is what I'm saying. By the way, UTEP, University of Texas at El Paso. So
That still helps nothing.
it's in El Paso, gentlemen. You know that hot sauce, El Paso?
I will say this as maybe as a little bit of a last thing. If we're going to compare teams, I mean, let's look at the Chiefs, for example. You have one great receiver in Tyreek Hill, one great tight end in Kelsey. I'm not comparing Tunyon and Kelsey to the same. Tunyon is, most would say, maybe top 10, and that's good enough. That's still good enough to get you, what you need to do. Some would say Tyreek Hill is the best receiver in the NFL. Obviously, I'm not going to say that. I would say that the Packers' running game might have been better than the Chiefs' running game.
Oh, yeah.
So you already have that. And then to see what we saw with the offensive line, now obviously if Eric Fisher and Schwartz play in the Super Bowl, it might be a different story. So maybe the offensive lines are about the same, evenly. It comes down to the quarterback. So if you're telling me you need more weapons, and here's the thing, you had Alan Lazard, who was playing great, and then he got hurt. So if you're telling me you need more weapons, you're telling Alan Lazard, hey, before you got hurt, I know you're playing great. That's not good enough for me. If you're not, Devontae Adams, you're nobody. I get MVS, I get St. Brown, but a guy like Alan Lazard who can be your number 2, and just he was gone for a while. It was months. He started off pretty hot, and then he got hurt. He didn't come back to almost end of December. And, I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, he had like 2 catches one game. Playoff game, he had 6 targets, 3 catches for 62 yards. So, I mean, you have the talent. Again, you're mad at the wrong person. The GM didn't tell you to go for 3.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so about that, Lazard finally had a good season. How many years has he been in the NFL? 4? And he finally started to have a solid beginning.
It's still a weapon, though.
I understand, but we're not there at practice with what Rodgers is seeing. If these guys are struggling day in and day out, trying to understand the offense, or maybe he's just not clicking with them, and that's why he's asking, because it's been taking this long for Lazard to finally show something, that could be also extremely frustrating, knowing that Rodgers isn't getting younger. Mahomes is getting better. Rodgers, yeah, he had an MVP season, but he's getting up there in age, so he needs more help. I understand that too.
Okay, but let's look at the Pats when Brady was there last. Who was their best receiver?
Edelman.
That's saying a lot.
And his last pass as a Patriot was a pick.
Exactly. If Brady has a guy like Devontae Adams there, do you think he's leaving? I don't think so.
Got him.
I
Got
don't
think so.
I don't
Next
think
point.
I don't
checkmate.
think so. But
Checkmate. So
that's
we move
also
on.
not that's
So that's
also
what I'm
not a
saying,
great
though.
comparison though, because Brady, everyone could already tell Brady kind of wanted out, not just because of weapon wise,
But I would
just because him and Bill weren't on the same side the last couple. I mean, same like mindset the last couple seasons.
Yeah, but if you have Devontae Adams, man, it's Devontae Adams. It's not like Devontae Adams is a top, like a back half of the 20
Oh
receiver.
no, Devontae Adams, I think he's probably.
To me, Devontae Adams is the best in the league. So if you have potentially the best in the league, and you're still calling for more weapons. It's like, okay, at this time, man, I really think it's you.
Agreed, 100%.
I just don't think he's not expressing himself properly, because I really do think it's just an overall team building, and then he goes weapons, and everyone else does weapons just because you only think of Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones, and then the other guys are just okay. I just think it's an overall team building he's upset with, because
Yeah,
even if they go defense every year, why is defense so trash?
Totally disagreed, though. If it's an overall team building, he would be absolutely glad that the Packers went corner the first year, the first round this year, because Kevin King was getting torn up. Kevin King got beat by who's that white guy in the Bucks? Like 5'6", Speedy Wheel, Scotty Miller.
Yeah,
90% of the team.
Yeah, last play going into
Scotty Miller has literally one route fly that he runs every single play.
I mean, so does Tyreek Hill.
And it got Kevin King every single time. I don't know how you're a professional NFL player if you can't guard one route. So,
but they bring him back for a year.
If he cared about team building, he'd be so happy. He'd be like, "Good, let's build this defense, because I'm tired of having to score 40 points every game to keep up because my defense is allowing 45."
All right, so here's another thing. It's small, but it can still be upsetting. I mentioned it to you guys earlier. The Bears, who just signed Andy Dalton this offseason, spoke to Andy Dalton and told him, hey, we're going to pick up Fields with this pick. Hasn't even suited up for the Bears. But yet last year, when the Packers traded up to grab Jordan Love, said nothing to Aaron Rodgers. Don't even consult him with some of the decisions they make. He's your star guy. You don't have to, obviously. You're not obligated to. But where's the respect?
No, I think that's Favre
they were going to draft Rodgers.
And Favre was upset too, right?
No, but I think that's 100% on the person, though. Yeah. Why is your ego so small that you're?
Like I just said, it's just out of respect.
It's not out of respect.
I'll say this. I think I agree with you, Jake, on how he's handling it. I feel like how he's making it seem is, I need weapons, but you have a really good offense. I mean, the guy was MVP. What you need to rephrase it as, I need help on the defensive side of the ball. Like I get it, you're drafting, and maybe these guys just aren't panning out, but that's where you're losing these key games, is on the defensive side of the ball. Kevin King is getting toasted, not by Mike Evans, Antonio Brown,
by Scotty Miller, baby.
It's Scotty Miller.
Scotty one route Miller.
Scotty
He's
Miller,
like
baby.
5th on the depth chart. Scotty Miller. That's all I'll say.
Last point. So this GM has been there, 3 seasons, you said,
yep.
DJ? So the last 3 drafts, not including this one, first round, Jordan Love, Darnell Savage, and Rashawn Gary. Maybe the only pick that's been kind of good is Darnell Savage. He has a lot of potential. Besides that, what has he done? What has that defense done for the team? Every other good player, Jair Alexander, Kenny Clark, those guys are from the old GM.
No, that's false.
How?
You drafted Jair Alexander.
You said the last 3.
Yeah, he's been in since 2018. He drafted Jair Alexander.
Okay, so it's 4. Okay.
Hate to see it.
Well, you're telling me 3, so I'm going off of what you told me.
Hate to see it. Man,
all right.
Do your research, Jake.
All right, whatever. No, because this guy says 3, and because he doesn't know his numbers, gets mad at me. Okay, cool.
Don't listen to me, buddy. Do your research.
Don't listen to the host. All right, but I won't.
No, I was listening to something very interesting, because the Vikings drafted Kellen Mond, and they asked the Viking GM, Rick Spielman, hey, did you talk to Kirk Cousins before you drafted Kellen Mond? And he said, why? Why would I? Kirk is a professional. He's got a contract here. He's the starter. Well, why does he need a heads up? It's his job. Do your job, and you don't have to be worried about who I draft. That's team building. You're a player. This is front office.
This is a business. Period.
If he needs a heads up that they're gonna draft a backup, Jordan Love was never gonna start last year. What does he need? He needs a heads up for a backup player? Nah, that's not disrespect. The man thinks he's above the team. He thinks he is the team. And so that's why he wants everything run by him. He's a tyrant. Get Karen out of there.
All right, so
Karen on Jeopardy.
then where do you put the Packers without Rodgers?
I feel like that's a whole different conversation.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, if the team is great, you can just plug anyone else in there, right?
So I'll say it quickly like this. Remember when the Patriots had the top, 3-team always, right? And then 2010 happened. Tom tore his ACL. Matt Castle came in. Were they still a top 5 team? No. Were they playoff worthy? Absolutely.
And
I'm
they didn't
saying
make it. I think they had 11 wins and still didn't make it.
11-5. What I'm saying is Jordan Love gonna be Aaron Rodgers? Nah.
But he'll be better than Matt
Maybe,
Castle.
yeah, maybe he'll be Aaron Rodgers. That's a stretch. But, I mean, even Aaron Rodgers wasn't Aaron Rodgers the first, 1 or 2 years after he took over from Favre. He was still kind of finding his way. I'm not saying Jordan Love is going to be great, but is he going to be trash with such a great team around him? I don't know. I can't see
The
that.
only two guys that could probably succeed without Rodgers right now, Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones.
I mean, that's your opinion, though, my guy.
And also your opinion of Jordan Love being a solid quarterback. That's also an opinion.
I never said he was solid. I said he wasn't trash.
That's an opinion. You don't
I'm
know.
saying, just like Matt Castle, who was a relative unknown, can be plugged into a great team and succeed, you can plug in someone like a Jordan Love. You can plug in
Also, you
someone
had Bill
and
Belichick.
count on them succeeding.
At the time, Bill Belichick was plugging in quarterbacks all the time. That's why Jimmy G got a massive contract with the 49ers, and that's why Jacoby Brissett should be in jail for theft with the Colts.
This is pretty crazy because none of us are even Packers fans. I don't even know why we're getting so heated about it. None of us actually care about the Packers. Why are we discussing this so much?
It's just something to talk about.
I'm ready to move on, honestly.
Let's go ahead.
So is Aaron Rodgers. Hey, while we're talking about the draft, who are your winners and losers of the draft? You know what? Let me just get it out of the way. The Vikings are the winners of the draft. Here's how. They were number 14, and they needed a tackle. They traded back to number 23, got the tackle they wanted, and picked up extra picks, which got them Kellen Mond, who could be QB of the future, and picked up another tackle in Wyatt Davis, who had a first-round grade on him, has a few question marks about him, about his health. But if you get 2 first-round grade tackles and your QB of the future by moving back 9 spots, to me, that's a pretty solid draft. I'm going to say Vikings won it.
I would agree. I would agree with the take of they had a really good draft. I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns. With their first pick, they drafted Greg Newsome, who's going to be a really good corner opposite of what's his name? I can't remember his name. Drafted out of Ohio State.
Denzel Ward.
Denzel Ward. Denzel Ward is actually very underrated. Of course, it's Cleveland, so there's not really. Yeah, they took a really good step this year, but he's still a very underrated corner. But to add Greg Newsome over there to play on the other side, they drafted Greedy Williams a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, and he hasn't really kind of announced his presence into the league. So to add Greg Newsome, it was big. And in the second round, they landed Jeremiah Owusu from Notre Dame, who was a really good linebacker.
That's such a great pick. I can't believe he fell. I can't believe he fell so much, man.
Apparently, it was because of a heart condition or heart issue.
Yeah, but they worked that out, though. They worked that out. It was because of his intense workout that he had it.
Yeah.
Elevated his heart. But that was really a solid pick. I agree with you there.
Because that guy was slated to go first round.
Yeah, that guy flies, man.
Yeah.
He's everywhere. That's the biggest thing that jumps off the tape on him. Running play, he's there. Pass play, he's there. That guy's everywhere.
Yeah, he's a nice do-it-all guy. And then the nice pick who at Auburn, he wasn't really utilized that well. Anthony Schwartz is an absolute burner. And to come in and play behind guys like ODB and Landry, it's going to be nice for him. So they definitely improved it. To me, they're definitely my winners of the draft.
Yeah, I could see that. That was a solid draft. I really do like what the Browns are building there. I like what they're putting on the field. And I like what they got in the front office too. I feel like they finally got a coaching staff that is competent. They finally got GMs. It's nice to see what you can do with a good GM and a good coach, right, Karen Rodgers? Jake, who you got? Best draft.
For me, I'm gonna go Los Angeles Chargers. I think they had a really great draft. Filled needs, but not just grabbing positions that they needed, but they grabbed the right players. For example, they grabbed Rashaan Slater in the first round. He was probably I want to say the number one tackle, just like NFL ready wise. He was probably the best tackle there, and that was definitely a need that they needed. You need to protect Herbert.
Yeah.
Like
And
you have to protect him.
yeah, and the good I actually love Rashawn Slater. That guy, not only was he like the most NFL ready, I mean, he saw Chase Young. He did extremely well against Chase Young. But he can play all positions. So he's not just a left tackle. Granted, he'll probably play left tackle because they shored up their interior offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, that was a great move.
Yeah, and then we know that their corners are great, but they're also getting up there in age. So the Asante Samuel pick in the second round, I think was
solid.
because it was a mid round pick. It wasn't early in the second, so I feel like that was a nice grab. And then Josh Palmer, he's a well-rounded player on the outside. He didn't have the best production in college, but I think he's going to be most likely could be the number 2 receiver with Keenan Allen. Might pass Mike Williams, who knows. And then the last guy that I want to talk about, Chris Rumpf. Very undersized edge guy, but he had really good pass rush grades, 92.7 and 78.1. So he was really up there in the, grade-wise for pass rushing. So I think that's going to be really good for him, and he's going to learn a lot from Bosa. So
I'm excited either way, man. I think this class actually was pretty underrated. It felt like it didn't have the depth at some of the skill positions, like wide receiver, like last year's class. But QBs were stacked. O-line was stacked. Some pretty good defensive guys out there too. It should be fun to see. What about the opposite? Worst grades. Worst grades. Who you got for worst NFL draft grade, Matt?
For me, I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos because of the simple fact Justin Fields was sitting there and you passed him up for Patrick Surtain. Now, this is not a knock on Patrick Surtain. Outside of J.C. Horn, I actually really like Patrick Surtain. But you already had Ronald Darby, Kyle Fuller. So you need your biggest need was not corner. You are having a quarterback battle with Drew Lock and Teddy Two Gloves. I love Teddy Two Gloves, but he's just not the same due to the injury, unfortunately. Now, of course, if you get Karen Rodgers, it'll be a good draft. But at this point, man, it doesn't look like Karen's leaving at this point. So to pass up on Justin Fields, and then you drafted a running back in the second round, and you have Melvin Gordon. I didn't understand that.
Melvin Gordon and Phillip.
Nah, he's on Texans.
Oh, that's right. He left.
Yeah, he left.
Hey, I'm going to stick out there in the AFC West with you, man. I'm going to say the Raiders, though. That first pick to me, well, there were lots of picks that were reached, but that first-round pick, Alex Leatherwood, number 17. Alex Leatherwood wasn't even the best tackle in that draft class. And it was a pretty deep tackle class this year. If they really, really needed a guy, they could have traded up a few slots and grabbed AVT, Ledgevere Tucker. White Davis was still on the board. Maybe it was a little bit early for him too. They could have got our guy that the Vikings got at 23. There were plenty of better picks there, I think, for the Raiders. But they must have loved this guy. I think he rejected as a third or fourth best tackle, and they picked him second. So we got to see what happens there. They grabbed a safety after grabbing a safety last year or 2 years ago in Carl Joseph in the second round. Maybe they don't believe in him. We got to see what's up. But the next few picks, Malcolm Kuntz, the DN out of Buffalo, he wasn't even the best DN in Buffalo. And who in Buffalo plays football? I don't even understand that.
Josh Allen.
No, the University of Buffalo, my guy. The University of Buffalo. I can't even name 5 people who have come out of the University of Buffalo. I can name you one, Khalil Mack. Maybe that's what they're thinking. They had Khalil Mack from the University of Buffalo. Maybe this Malcolm Kuntz guy drinking from the same Kool-Aid. We got to see what they're thinking. But again, they grabbed 3 safeties this year after drafting a safety 2 seasons ago. There's only 2 safety positions, bro. How many safeties are you gonna play on the field? I think it was a whack draft overall. Jake?
Yeah, I have to go with the Rams. I think, to be honest, what I feel happened in the draft room for the Rams is they had a list up on the wall and they just threw darts. And wherever it landed, that's the guy they picked. Because they picked Atwell, who probably had the worst route tree in college, super limited, but you grabbed him in the second. You probably could have grabbed him in the 3rd or 4th round. You could have used that 2nd round pick to actually help Jared Goff out, protect him a little bit more on that offensive line. But I don't like this draft at all that they grabbed. They grabbed a linebacker, Ernest Jones, who was good, but he can't cover. So if he's not that good at rushing, what else? He's not going to play much. Aaron Donald's going to rush the crap out of the offensive line. So there's not going to be any room for him to get any type of sacks. So that was a waste of a pick that early. I don't like the draft that they did at all. I feel like it was a waste, but we'll see.
Well, fellas, I think we talked quite a bit about football. I think we spent way too much time on Karen Rodgers. As a Vikings fan, I hated talking about him that much. So I think this is a good time for halftime break, fellas. Let's get a word from our sponsor.
This episode is sponsored by Eric Cravat. Eric Cravat is your one-stop shop for men's accessories. They have expertly chosen and thoughtfully put together sets presented artistically to make you look dapper. Their prices may be affordable, but they never cut corners on quality. Eric Cravat brings you everyday value at a luxury quality by going direct to consumer, so you can be confident that their products will stand up to any premium brand on the market. Today only, enjoy 15% off when you use coupon REGULARGUYS at ericcravat.com.
Well, welcome back. We want to give a thanks again to Eric Cravat for sponsoring this week's episode. Hit him up, man. I know not a lot of in-person activities, but you still gotta look fresh when the camera comes on. Jake, you rocking a cravat on your Zoom meetings?
No, not that specific look.
But a sweet tie from Eric Cravat, though.
Oh yeah, definitely use it, especially with that code we got going on. Regular guys, you get 10% off when this episode drops today. Go ahead and use it. We appreciate his help too.
Now Matt's a bow tie guy, though. Matt, you grabbing a bow tie from there?
Yeah, actually, look, man, he's got some nice paisley looking ones, some nice floral bow ties. So I'm gonna actually use that code myself, to be honest with you.
Love it. Hey, fellas, it's time for the NBA. I know you've missed me a lot. I'm so glad to be with you guys. Let's talk NBA, man. The greatest teams of all time. I know Jake just keeps saying absolute nonsense when it comes to greats. So let me let Matt start this off. Matt, who's your greatest NBA team of all time?
So for me, I am going to go with the obvious, and I'm going to go with the 2016-2017 Golden State Warriors. Headlined by Kevin Durant, and that might be disrespectful, especially with Steph being there, but Kevin Durant was the best player on the team. Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Clay, and Draymond. So you're talking about 4 Hall of Famers right there. In their time, they won 2 rings. Could have been 3 had KD, I feel, not torn his Achilles. And so, yeah, I'm definitely going to go with those guys. They had a good, nice, I wouldn't say nice bench. They had a nice 6-man coming off the bench and Iggy. Everyone, we all respect Iggy and his game and what he's meant to the game. So I'm definitely going to go with them. Of course, I did not have fun watching them just completely obliterate LeBron James and crew with Cleveland. But man, to see them have maybe potentially stayed together for maybe as long as Shaq and Kobe did, or maybe just as long as MJ and Scotty did, I don't know, man. We might have seen them win at least 5, 6 rings together. So to only win 2 in their span of 3 years is still really good. Like I said, they could have won the third had Katie not got hurt.
It's gonna be hard to disagree with you here because I'm talking about the team. I would say the original iteration of that Warriors team, the '96 Bulls, who set all these records that the Warriors eventually did knock down. But the Bulls were the first to do it. '96 Bulls to me is the greatest, best record ever. 72-10 until, of course, the Warriors broke it. What, 18 years later? But they started 37-0. They walked through the playoffs. They actually played the playoffs better than the Warriors. That's why I'm giving it to them. They never struggled in the playoffs. They won 3-0, 4-1, 4-0, 4-2. You know, no team was ever closer than 2 games to them to winning. Like you said, their depth was there. Of course, we know Jordan was playing at an all-time level at the time, setting records. Scottie Pippen was playing at an insane level. But like you said, they had other guys that were contributing too. Steve Kerr, yeah, he wasn't starting, but he was great off the bench. His field goal percentage led the team. His three-point percentage led the team. His free throw percentage led the team. If you've got shooters like that, like guys that are coming off the bench and the production doesn't drop, oh, that's unstoppable then. Because that time when you've got substitutions coming in, all right, you think maybe the scoring will go down a little bit. Guys are getting rest. Nah, you couldn't never ease up because their team was so deep. We didn't even mention Rodman back when he was before he was wearing dresses, when he was still in his right mind, but he was crazy on the court. That for me, fellas, '96 Bulls, greatest team of all time. What about you, Jake?
I'm gonna have to go with 2001 Lakers. That team was ridiculous, and it was just with Kobe and Shaq. That was it. Shaq, insane, 33 points a game. He was averaging almost 16 rebounds and 3 blocks. Like that's ridiculous. And then Kobe at 22 years old was dropping 25 a game, 8 rebounds and 6 assists. So he was killing it also at the age of 22, and they held the Sixers to average about 94 points a game, which back then you had Iverson, Mutombo at his early, not early, he was super old. He was 35, 34. But I think that team was great. They plowed through that playoffs, and they almost swept the Sixers, but they won 4-1. That's my team.
Yeah,
Matt.
I'm gonna say this. It sucked, man, for AI. I felt bad for that guy. My guy dropped 48 points in their only win and was literally doing everything he could do, and it just wasn't enough. Like, it was almost David Goliath like to.
Yeah, he averaged 36 in the finals.
Yeah, like he was literally doing everything he could do, man, and it just was not enough.
Speaking of greatest, is AI the best to never win a ring?
That's debatable.
Yeah.
I'd say he's up there.
Because Barkley, Barkley's up there too.
You got Barkley. Did Malone ever win one?
I don't think so.
I don't know how late he joined the Lakers team.
Yeah,
I think he'll definitely be up there. I think that's a good topic for another episode. But he's definitely up there.
Yeah, I it's hard to do that comparison thing too that we do in the NFL because these guys all played in different eras too. Warriors, you mentioned, they played in an era when all 3 of those guys that you mentioned, killers from the 3-point, right? So yeah, they're winning in points, they're leading in free throw 3-point percentage, but how is their defense? Got to give it to '96 Bulls on that. It's It's hard to do that comparison, but I'm glad we're on the same page that the 96 Bulls would have walked through everybody. Hey, let's get off topic then in the NBA.
I don't think
This
any of us
guy,
agreed with
nobody
that, to be
said
honest. That's
The
not
time is
anything
coming.
anyone said.
I would say that is the one thing I probably missed PJ being the host, just going ahead and saying that we all agree with his take and just moving by it.
Even though
Like we're not gonna say nothing.
no one in their right mind agreed with him at
Right.
all.
Don't get me wrong. It was great. You know, the 72.
So who would beat them?
wins,
Who would beat the 96 Bulls?
I'd say the Warriors.
No.
Again, it's a different time, a different era.
It's a different time. It's a
Yeah,
different
all
It's
time.
really
scenario-based.
hard. It's difficult because
It's
I
a
really
different time.
I don't see who's gonna stop. I don't know who stops Curry.
Jordan, 100% Jordan.
Can he keep up with him though? Nobody was
100%.
playing. Nobody was playing the way
One-
Curry was playing.
100% he can keep up with
I
him.
mean, this is the greatest shooter of all time.
Yes, Jordan would 100% keep up with
But
him.
So
okay,
then who's guarding Durant? Who's
That's
guarding
your
Klay?
question. Okay, so that's your question. Who's guarding Durant? 100%. That's your question. Because you'd have to have Rodman on Draymond.
And
for
you would
sure.
have to think that Jordan would want a piece of Durant.
Yeah, but I
because at
think
the
Jordan,
time Durant is considered one of the greatest. Also,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think Jordan would play within himself, right? I think he would know he can't let Steph go off. And
but
I
you
feel
can't
like
let KD go off either.
right. That's the one I'm saying. I match up. KD's the wild card. KD's the one that stands out, not Steph, not
KD's a
Draymond.
7-foot shooter. No, I understand that, but I'm saying
Yeah.
you have a guy that's quick like Curry. At the time that MJ was playing, nobody was playing like Curry. Nobody.
And
That's
just
not-
based off
that's
of how
not true. That's
they run
not
their
true
offense,
at
they're
all.
throwing so many screens at you.
The reason
Exactly.
So while you're
reason
chasing
that Jordan
Curry,
the
Durant's
reason that
just
Jordan and
chilling.
Pippen were developing shoes is because the tide was turning. The era of speed started with those guys. You had before slow or lanky guys who just kind of moseyed the way around the court. Jordan was flying up and down the court. Pippen was flying. That's the reason that they had to develop. They were like, nah, we need better shoes. It wasn't just for fashion back then. They were actually rocking these shoes. Pippen, Kerr, maybe not Kerr. Pippen, Jordan, could 100% stick with Curry. 1,000,000% stick with Curry.
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
Cooper-
I gotta
I
gotta
put
take the
wild card,
Warriors
like you
team.
said. I think the wild card, like you said, is Durant. If you can't
Yeah.
find someone to stick with Durant and he's draining threes on
Well,
you,
because if you stick
I'll
with
give you that.
Durant, Curry's gonna go off,
Curry's gonna
and if
go
you
off,
jump
Klay's
off
gonna go
Curry,
off.
yeah, Klay can drop 30, almost 40 points a quarter.
Yeah.
We've seen
Okay.
it happen.
All right, so let's do the opposite then. Who's sticking with Jordan? Don't say Curry.
KD.
Clay, KD.
Don't say Clay.
Oh,
Clay
you
would-
I think
what?
Because
KD.
Clay
Clay,
weight
bro,
Clay
you are
has
sleeping
great
on
defense.
Clay weighs 83 pounds. They don't call Jordan Jumpman for nothing. Clay would have got bodied
Bro,
every
you
single
are
time he went up
sleeping
to the
on
rim.
Clay as a defender.
Clay
I'm
would have
Big
got
time.
bodied.
I'm
Big
not going
time.
to say that Clay
Big
would shut
time.
him down,
Clay would get bodied every single
but
time he
Clay
went
would
up.
definitely hold his own.
Get
He would
okay.
hold his own.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not saying
All
he's
right.
going to hold Jordan
This
to
is
10
crazy.
points. Jordan's
Man.
going to hold. He's going to score his 25, but it's not like
This
it's going to
is
be
crazy.
super easy. Clay's going to
Wow.
make it difficult for him.
This is what happens when we have an old head back in the group.
Wow. I
Nothing's
can't
like
believe
back
it.
in the old days.
Because he's on the wrong side of 30.
I can't believe it. And this is what happens when we have a dude born in 2003 that thinks Clay could stick with a Hall of Famer.
Jake,
He
you were
can
born in
stick
03,
with
bro?
him.
He can't stick with Jordan.
Bro, he can.
All right.
You don't even watch basketball. What are you over here saying Clay can't?
Bro,
That is true.
Clay can't even have his knees stick together, much less stick
Okay,
to
but
Jordan,
you're talking
bro.
about now.
Come on,
You're talking
man.
about Clay on that team.
It doesn't matter.
Clay was
One-
locking people down, bro.
Not Jordan. Get out of here. Who was he locking down?
I'm not
Fine.
saying he
What about
could lock
Iggy?
him down completely.
Iggy's really good at defense and had the frame. You
It's
can
not gonna
switch.
happen. It's
And that's
not-
the thing.
it's
They have
not
more
happening.
guys to throw at Jordan than the Bulls.
Bulls
do
have to throw at the Warriors.
Durant.
All right. So you're telling me you're gonna put Klay Thompson against Michael Jordan?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
And
going
Klay-
to have him start, and I'm going to
Klay's
throw some
winning that.
Iggy, and I'm going to throw some Durant.
And Clay's winning that.
I'm not saying he's winning, but
He's going to slow him down. That's all
you're
Matt's
making
saying.
it.
As long as
Yeah,
he slow
you're
down.
making it seem like Jordan's gonna
No.
drop 50 on Clay.
Jordan would absolutely drop 50 on
Oh
Clay.
no!
By the time he drops
we got our
15,
own Karen here right now. I don't know
exactly.
what you're talking about.
I think you got a better chance, like you said, of having Iggy or of actually no, Iggy's too slow. I think you'd have a better chance of having KD guard Jordan. The reason is, does he have the speed to keep up? No, but he's got the frame to keep up. He's got the frame to like body him and not give him easy runs to the basket. I feel like Clay would get bodied every time Jordan went up to the basket. 100%.
Whatever.
But like I said, I'm glad we agreed. 96
No,
Bulls. Let's move on to off topic. Hey, the NBA season, man, it's long. It's long, but things are shaping up. It looks like Rookie of the Year race, is it wrapping up? Do we have a Rookie of the Year that's cemented their place?
I'm gonna say this. I'm going back to the other topic. My guy said Clay weighed 80 pounds. Jordan in his prime weighed 216. Clay weighed 215. All right. So anyway, we're going on to rookies. In my eyes, it is LaMelo Ball's to lose. Thankfully, he's back
215 in his head.
from injury. Lately, Ant has been playing great for the Timberwolves. The thing is, they just haven't been coming out with the wins. He's a great interviewer. Loved listening to that guy interview, man. He just speaks whatever. But yeah, Cole Anthony has also come on lately. But yeah, man, it's LaMelo Ball's to lose.
Yeah, I agree with Matt. It's LaMelo coming into this year was just not only a highlight reel, but the Hornets were actually winning games. Like that's the thing. And he's scoring when he has to score. He's distributing the ball when he has to the right way. And that connection with him and Bridges is going to be insane. And the fact that the Timberwolves were already eliminated from the playoffs a few weeks ago.
Yep.
I mean, with Karl Anthony Towns, it's really sad, but I mean,
yeah.
And like you said, great interviewer. Had no idea who Alex Rodriguez even was when he purchased
wild.
the team.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't even know who that is. And he just like kept going over. But even with LaMelo missing time, he was still front runner. So I think it's LaMelo's.
Anthony Edwards is hilarious, man. He had a interview a few days ago where he said he's tired of people talking Spanish on the court. He can't understand it, so he's going to Spain.
Yeah, with Rubio.
Yeah.
Just so that way he knows what they're talking about. That's literally the only reason why he wants to go.
I was dead.
Yeah, as much as I like Ant, I think I'm going to agree with LaMelo in that he's just so electric when he's on the field.
Court.
What was it?
Court, bro.
Court, yeah.
When he's on the cancha. Yeah, the points per game are there, sure. To me, it's the field goal percentage. He's shooting up there with seasoned vets, man. He as a rookie, you usually see, unless it's a top guy like a Jordan or like a LeBron, when they come in, that shooting percentage usually goes down a little bit, right? It's the nerves, playing against better talent, grown men instead of kids coming out of college. You usually see that field goal percentage dip a little bit. Melo's balling out. He's at this young age cementing and proving that he belongs in this league. I'm gonna have to agree with you gentlemen there. I'm glad that we found something to agree on though. It's about time that we found common ground. First episode, it's been kind of charged. It's been kind of heated, but I'm glad we agree. 96 Bulls and Melo.
Okay.
So you know why I think LaMelo is succeeding? It's the same way why Luka is. That 1 year playing overseas with professional athletes, I think is a huge difference. Because you're still playing in the professional atmosphere and with grown men. I can see probably maybe in the future a lot more kids choosing to play overseas rather than in college. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's why I said the thing
that's a good
about
point.
playing with grown people. I think that makes a huge difference. I think when you're balling in college, but you're playing with 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds who really don't know how to use their body properly. And then you're playing with, 30-year-olds who might have some more mileage on them, but they're way smarter, they're way wiser. Right? You kind of have those missteps your first couple of years. But if you get those out, like you're saying, by playing abroad, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's almost better than staying at school, right, or getting another year
And
or
you
two.
get paid.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, in my eyes, I honestly
the real
feel
reason,
like
Jake?
that one
Yeah.
and done rule should kind of be done with. I feel like they should stay for at least a good 2 years. You're not learning anything really on the game of basketball in that one season in college. And if that's the case,
But I also
just
get
go to
leaving early financially. Because
Oh,
if
yeah,
you're
for sure.
hot,
yeah.
if you're a hot ticket that first season, that first year, I'd rather make some money and learn in the NBA than in college.
For sure. Especially because injuries come,
Yep.
you blow your knees out or something, and there's your future really for you and your family, right? So, yeah, I agree with that. Hey, wanted to add a little mini segment here, talk about kicks. Now, I'm not a kicks guy myself. I got a pair of all black Chucks that I love. I got some Adidas T-Rex that I love. I got like 3 or 4 dress shoes, man. What is it about shoes that Jake, you're licking your lips already. You're dying to talk about kicks, man. What is it about kicks that gets you going?
I don't. So I think just like the fashion behind it, like just how nice some of these basketball shoes. Essentially, that's what all these are, basketball shoes. These Jordans. That's literally like you said. Jordan wore these on the court, but nowadays you see all these retro releases. You're like, I'm not playing basketball with these. Are you insane? This is for. I gotta make sure it matches my outfit. I gotta make sure I look good. I gotta make sure they stay clean. So it's more of a just looking good. But some of these colorways are insane. They just like I think one of my favorite pairs that I have are the Concords. Super clean, black and white. Like those are my favorite. And then the Legend Blues that dropped today, the 11s, they're lows. I don't know who out there was able to cop, but I know a lot of people couldn't. So if you were able to cop, let us know in the comments. Maybe we can, post it on our story that you copped some shoes that you were hoping for. But we got a lot of sneakerheads out there. And then they really enjoy the show. So we want to give them a little segment with the shoes.
Matt, what got you into it? I know you got a pretty nice collection here. Even when that light bill ain't paid, I know you got
Even when it's
fresh
not paid, man.
fresh kicks on the feet, man.
Always. For me, it's kind of what Jake's mentioned too, to be able to wear a shoe that Jordan wore, where he dropped insert points or whatever at the Garden, wherever. Like to me, it's just more meaningful. Me personally,
But Clay
I
can
don't
stop
wear a
him,
shoe.
though. But Clay can stop him.
Yeah, I mean Clay's got shoes too with Anta, I believe. But they're kind of whack. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. And just me personally, I like my feet to be fresh. I'm kind of basic on as far as my attire may go, but to me, my feet got to be fresh at all times. And it's just going back to a saying my mom always told me. I wanted good shoes back in high school, middle school, whatever the case was. But I was the one kid, like most kids, rocking I can't speak, K-Swiss, Reeboks, the one black pair, the one white pair. And I was told, get a job, get your own shoes. So that's what I do. As far as my favorite pair, many may know I'm a Jordan 1 collector. I've kind of put my other shoes on pause to just focus on that. My best pair that I would say I own, it would have to be the Rookie of the Year Jordan 1s.
Yeah, I'm with Matt. The clearance section was my friend before school started every summer.
Oh, facts.
It was,
Oh,
it was
100%.
K-Swiss,
Yep,
Reeboks.
K-Swiss.
Yeah.
And you can't get the white pair because they get too dirty.
Yeah.
You got to get a pair that had some color in it.
The
That
Adidas
way.
Samphas too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, I remember the year I got my first pair of Air Force Ones, man. Actually, I'll tell you a story. So the year before that, I had gotten like the Walmart brand, like the check going backwards instead. right?
Yeah, I remember those.
But I would always make sure that my jeans were long enough, right? So they cover the checkout, but like you still see the bottom. So people are like,
They would think that they were
yeah,
still.
they were like,
Yeah.
oh, yo, he's rocking Air Force Ones, right?
Yep.
Until somebody would be like, hey, roll your pants up real quick, right? So that first year,
Psych.
it's it's true, man. Like a pair of shoes can give you the confidence that you need to
Yeah.
like,
It's almost like a fresh haircut.
yeah. Hey, listen, I want to talk to you guys about shoes. I want you to look at something. So I'm into, like you said, right? I'm on the wrong side of 30.
Oh God. Oh God.
Let me talk to y'all real quick.
These aren't really that bad.
They're
me-
not, but
hold
you
on,
can
hold
definitely
on.
tell
I
they're
like
old
'em.
people shoes.
Hold on, let me talk to you. So here's what happened, right? Shoes were designed not for athletes, they were designed for everyday people, right? So they're really not meant for
Are
the
these
foot.
shoes folding?
They're called Vivo barefoot shoes,
So
and
y'all look this up.
they
Vivo
basically
barefoot.
have they basically have like a very slim but still protecting sole. So it feels almost like you're walking on the ground with nothing on your feet, which is actually
That's
better. No. It's actually better for your feet. It strengthens the arch of your foot, it strengthens your heel, and it doesn't cramp your toes, doesn't give them bunions or everything. It's actually like physically, it's way better for your feet. But if you look up, like if you just Google barefoot shoes, they're usually like really, really whack, like super trash. This is
Yeah.
the only company who's like, let's make barefoot shoes, but actually put some effort into the design. So they look like something like, all right, they might not look as fresh as Jordans, but it looks like something that you could wear and people wouldn't be like, what are those? So
These are
this
giving
is
me
what I'm
like
into,
a
man.
Black Panther sneakers vibe. I
Yeah.
would say that. I mean, I personally
so
like these, so the fact that they come in my size too, I'll give you a thumbs up.
Plus that all black.
you're on
You
the
see
wrong
that?
side of 30 when you're talking about bunions.
That is true. That is true. That's so
That's
true.
facts.
When you're looking for a shoe that protects you from
Oh
bunions.
no, that's facts.
Yeah. But I'll give these a good approval. I like them.
Yeah, man.
I'll give them a 5.
I'll look into them when I hit 30 in a couple years.
A 5 out of 10 or a 5 out of 5?
Whichever you want to take it as.
Yes, 5 out of 5. Let's go. Matt, what are you
I'll give
giving
him,
these, man?
I'll give him 6.5 out of 10.
All right.
So 1.5 more just because he's only 2 years
Like,
away from 30.
I would wear these for like work
Yeah,
on a constant basis. What is this
for
called?
sure.
The Sedona Sage. I like it.
Yeah, man.
And then the Obsidian, with the
Yeah, the obsidian one, that
yeah,
that
those are
black, I think
nice.
that looks fresh.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Oh no, I'm about to hit 30. Dang.
Yeah, let's go. We've already converted them. Hey,
Dang it.
if you're listening to this shoe section, www.vivobarefoot.com. Check out the Magna FGs.
Maybe we can get them to
Let me
sponsor.
know what you think, man. Let me know what you think. Tell me if they're whack or not. Fellas, we've been talking for so long. I know you've missed me. I know this episode has run long. But I truly just want to say I'm glad you held it down in my absence. I'm glad to know Jake still has whack takes and Matt
Wow.
still has no respect for Jordan. It's good to see you guys haven't
No
changed.
respect, bro. I have a whole collection of his shoes.
Yeah,
What are you talking
yeah, that's
about?
all you care about. The fact that this man
That's
was the
respect,
fastest
bro. I'm a LeBron
and the
fan. I only
jump
own
man,
like
and
2
you said
pairs of
something
LeBrons.
like, because LeBron's are whack, and you know it.
No.
Every shoe is whack besides Jordan's. Or maybe Kobe has a good shoe.
Nah, Kobe's a whack too.
No,
The
no,
way
I would
Wade's
say
are probably okay.
Where
D-Wade has some
yeah,
just
and
slept
Kyrie,
on.
Yeah.
Kyrie
like
lost me.
yeah, like two of Kyrie's are pretty nice.
When Kyrie
Anyways,
said the earth was flat, I stopped looking at his shoes.
oh no.
I was like, all right, this man awesome.
Fellas, last thoughts on the hype. Jake, I know you had some hypes.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone saw, but this week, Disney released the new Phase 4 trailer of all their upcoming projects. But what I liked about it was that they paid tribute to everyone that started the whole MCU. Like they made sure you knew about Captain America, Iron Man. Like, they praised them. They said, "Hey, you guys are the ones who started it. Granted, that phase is over, but let's see what we're excited for." And we saw some Black Widow. We saw the new. Well, we don't know when it's coming out, but they at the end of the trailer, that Fantastic Four. I know everyone's
And they
super
killed me with
hyped
that,
about
bro.
that.
They killed me with that. I was like, oh no, they're about to give me a date. Nope.
Yeah, no date, but there's a lot of projects I'm excited for, and just as a comic book fan, it's
It is
pretty
nice
cool.
to know Fantastic Four is in the works, man. That's a franchise
Yeah.
that needs to be done well.
Yes,
Spider-Man's coming out too.
I can't wait for
No
that
Way
trailer.
Home. That's gonna be great. The Black Panther 2. That's gonna be emotional.
Dude,
That's gonna be emotional.
that
Yeah.
title, Wakanda Forever.
That's
I was
gonna
like,
be
that was
emotional.
perfect.
That's gonna be a good one. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to be excited about.
I wonder if they do
The
a tribute
theaters.
for him.
I gotta tell you something I'm excited about in the theaters. Uh, it's actually a movie that my wife and I actually really like together, and it's not even like our type of movie because we don't like scary movies. But A Quiet Place 2,
Yo,
A Quiet Place
yes.
2 final trailer just came out. It's been delayed 2 years. It finally comes out the end of this month. Somehow we're gonna have to find a way to watch it. It's got to be seen, man. I'm looking forward to it. It's scary. It's scary, but it's not like,
I think it's more suspenseful.
yeah, that's the word. Like most scary films are like grotesque or like just gory. Like it doesn't make any
this is just
sense.
suspense. Yeah,
This keeps you on the edge of your feet. I like it. Gets the heart pumping a little bit. Get that cardio in.
just
Other
by
side of
sitting
30.
down. Dude's having heart pains watching a movie. My bunions.
Yeah, but my feet gonna be comfortable though. Regulars, we thank you again for tuning in. The episode was long, but we had a lot to say. I missed these guys. They missed me. They text me every single day.
Dang, man, we just gonna skip over what I was hyped for.
For
It was
real,
over the
PJ
top.
said.
That's crazy.
End of the episode. Yeah, I mean, like you actually had the audacity to say that Clay would lock up Jordan, and I
Anyways,
feel
what I'm
like
hyped
I
for
feel like I don't want
is
to talk to you anymore.
I'm actually gonna be able to play around in disc golf tomorrow, man. I'm super hyped, bro.
Wow.
It's been
Oh,
a minute.
dang.
Yeah, man, it's been a minute, so I'm happy to get the card out and sling some disc.
What are you playing?
I'm not sure yet. It's either a Stero or a PG. I want to go North Mars, but I'm not trying to lose something, bro. And it's just me by myself potentially. So more than likely a Stero. So yeah, man, that's what I'm hyped for. We also reached out to you guys just briefly on our IG page, see what you were hyped for. Some guy talked about how he was hyped for baseball. Jason, gosh.
I got you, my boy Jason. He's hyped about them Yankees, all right? Finally above 500.
It's nap time.
They've been killing it. Everybody was sleeping on. You know what?
Yeah, you're right. Everyone was sleeping. We sleeping
This
right now.
man's.
My boy Micah said he was hyped about the NFL release. We are
That's
too,
right. The
Micah.
schedule release is
Yeah,
up
man.
this week, huh?
The 12th, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we appreciate you, Bank, listening, chiming in what you're hyped for. Like you said, we post this every week. So, let us know what you're hyped for each day, or the week, the month, whatever it is. And we'll make sure to shout you guys out on the show.
So you done now, Matt? Are you done with the hype now?
Yes, I am.
Since I couldn't interrupt you before?
Yes, I am.
All right. I feel like if I got you a pair of Jordans, you would reverse your stance and say that Clay would get blistered by him.
Nah, just throw him in a lake, man.
Because it couldn't be just any pair of Jordans.
If I got you whatever pair that you picked, if I just gave you $300 and say go to town.
I still wouldn't, but I appreciate this.
Wow.
He gonna buy you some flights.
Man, if y'all don't, please don't. Don't give me some Team Jordan. Please, just all right. Let's end the show there.
Let me get you some flights.
Yeah, nah, we're good. We're definitely good.
Let me send you some Vivo Barefoots, man. They got them in size 15, bro.
Okay, you know what? I'll take that.
Hey.
Give me a pair of those, and I'll maybe think about changing one.
Let's go.
He'll get you some SB Dunks and say they're low ones.
Oh no!
No.
Please.
Man, what were Shaq's shoes with N1 again?
Oh my God.
What did Shaq have an one? What were they called?
I can't remember. But
Y'all are sneakerheads that don't remember Shaq's the and ones. The and ones, bro.
I was gonna say, weren't they called and ones?
Yeah, that's
I
what
know
it is.
the only
Shaq's and
Shaq
ones.
shoe that was actually good was the Reebok ones.
Yeah, Shaqnosis.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then my man's like, you know what? I'm going to Walmart. And then that's it.
Which, I mean, he had a really good reason. He wanted to
Yeah,
have
I
everyone
get it.
have affordable shoes. So, I mean, I give him good credit for that.
All right, fellas. Let's wrap it up. Any last closing thoughts, Jake?
Like I always say, guys, I don't want to take it for granted, but we really appreciate the support you guys give us. It means a lot, truly does. But please keep interacting with us on social media. Follow us, share with your friends, family, and let us know what you guys want us to talk about. It really helps us to make sure you guys stay focused with us. We appreciate it. Thank you for everything. Matt?
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback off that, we're happy for you guys to continue to grow with us. Glad PJ's back as well, so we can continue to grow this together, all three of us. And yeah, like Jake said, just follow us on our Instagram, listen to our podcast, share it with other people. Also, let us know if you know of people with small businesses who we can use for sponsors. We're always willing to work with new people as well.
That's it. That's our episode 5. We appreciate you sticking with us for this long. If you did, 5 episodes in, we're looking to get better. We know who you are. We appreciate the support. You know us. We are the regular guys.
Peace.
Regular Guys Podcast.